Hey everyone, we're here to introduce the latest Borniak smoker featuring a brand new controller and temperature probes that precisely monitor the internal temperature of your meat, and that temperature gets sent straight over to the new Borcook app. Everything is set up through the app. I've got Mike here with me who's going to give us a rundown of how this controller works and what it can do.
Right then, let's kick things off with how to get connected. The controller connects to your home Wi-Fi, which in turn links it to your smartphone. After that, you can access it from pretty much anywhere you've got an internet connection. Of course, your smoker needs to be in range of your home Wi-Fi. In a moment, we'll show you the whole pairing process. I'll just mention that you can have several devices paired at once and a few different users connected to the one smoker.
And now let's get it connected.
Yeah.
We'll show you what the app looks like and how to pair the smoker. This is the Borcook app already up and running. So, Mike, where do we need to go to get the smoker paired?
Okay, so on the first screen, we have the option to choose languages. Right now, there are 3 available. We'll pick English, the one we're using. Next, we pop into the Smoker tab and add a new device.
Right, so first we need to be connected to our home router with the phone on the Wi-Fi. I'll just connect to the local network here. Okay, we're connected to the network. What's next?
We add the device in the app, so we just follow the on-screen instructions. Now, we need to have the right device standard.
So we're connecting to the 2.4 gigahertz network.
That's the one.
Can you connect to 5 gigahertz as well?
At this stage, connection is limited to 2.4 gigahertz networks only.
What do we do? Continue?
Yep.
I'm selecting the model now.
Now we get to the pairing bit. To pair it, we've got a couple of options. We can either choose from the available networks.
The D4, that's the one in the middle.
And now we select that network, then we press and hold the temperature control button, and our code pops up. We type that code in here, into these fields.
So we're typing in what's showing on the display. Okay, that'll be 6817121. We hit submit and click connect. Now we choose the model we have.
We've got the BDDSW 150.
So that's the first one from the top. Yep, that's the model. Let's show them. Okay, what now? Do we click open?
Open, that's right.
What are we looking at?
From here, we can see the main control panel and the buttons we can use to manually control our smoker.
So, right from the top, what's the most important thing? Temperature. We click it and we can use the slider to set the temperature. Let's say we're doing a ham, so we'll set it to, I don't know, 90 something degrees, maybe 100 to start with.
Yep. Time.
Time. Let's say we need about 4 hours, 4.5.
Confirm that. Save.
The time is set. Now let's show what's happening on the smoker screen, that the smoker has picked up the settings. It's showing 442. Whatever is on the app is mirrored on the screen.
A meat probe like this is for making sure we always get that perfect juiciness in the meat. We hit that temperature sweet spot. That precise point determines juiciness. Too high and the meat dries out. Hit it just right and you get the perfect texture.
For a ham, that would be 68 to 72 degrees Celsius.
The recommended temperature depends on the type of meat you're smoking. We suggest checking reliable recipes and following the guidelines in the Borcook app to set the correct target temperature for your dish.
Right? So, for example, with ham or sausage, the app will give us the right setting to follow. And can we also program it to hold a certain internal meat temperature and tell it when the smoker's heating element should turn on?
Let's take a look at the probes. We have 2 probes here, number 2 and number 1. In manual mode, we usually just use one. When we're in program mode, which we'll talk about later, they have extra features. But for now, in manual mode, which is selected here, manual next to program, we're in manual now. We select the first meat probe, set the temperature to, say, 72 degrees, and save it. We're not going to wait for it now, but if we did hit 72 degrees, the heat and the heating element would turn off, along with any other elements we have on. Because while we're making ham for those 4.5 hours, we can also turn on the smoke. And we can choose if we want it on for the whole time, the full 4.5 hours, or maybe if someone prefers a milder smoky flavor, we can set it for just an hour and a half. There we go. We save it. We can also go into the settings here. Then we have a setting like, I've just set it for 12 hours.
1240?
Yeah, you can set it for up to 24 hours here, but it all really depends on the recipe. It could also be, say, 35 minutes for example. There you go.
And we confirm it so we don't forget.
And we confirm.
So we've basically set up 3 elements.
Yep.
What's left?
We also have the dryer unit, but the dryer works on a simple principle. You can't dry and smoke at the same time.
So if we turn on the dryer, let's say we want to dry something.
The smoke will automatically be turned off. However, remember that with this model, the dryer unit needs to be installed separately. So if you want to dry, instead of the smoke generator, you need to install the dryer.
But first, let's talk about the smoke generator itself, what it's made of. So what do we have here? A chamber where we put the wood chips.
Let's maybe take it out.
Okay.
The smoke generator is really the heart of the whole product. It's all about generating smoke at a constant controlled temperature, which means the smoke is always stable and consistent. To get good smoke, you need a steady temperature, which we provide, and good wood chips. So we really encourage you to buy the original ones, or at least very high quality chips. Good quality means low moisture because too much moisture creates a lot of substances that are marked as harmful. And it's also about the chips having a uniform size so there's no dust. When we pack ours and during production, we always make sure there's no dust because that changes the burning temperature. See how uniform they all are. There's no dust here at all.
Yep. And now let's talk about how efficiently these chips burn. Does a pack like this last for over, say, 8 or 10 hours of smoking?
It's around 6 and 8 hours.
Right. Well, for my smoking sessions, I usually use about half a pack for one go. That's more than enough for 4 to 5 hours of continuous smoking, so it's very economical. These packs last a long time, so the smoke generator goes onto these hinges. We hook it on when we start the smoking process. We put the lid on.
The process of feeding the wood chips is 100% automatic.
Let's show how that looks.
Maybe let's also look at how from the inside, on one side, speaking of automation, we have the generator directly connected to the panel. And this socket is controlled by the programmer. So if we want to use the timer, we don't plug it into the mains separately. It has to be connected directly to the generator through this. That's when the generator's timer works.
So let's show them. This cable comes straight from the smoke generator and goes into the controller here at the back. Please also remember when you buy the smoker, there's a small switch here. It needs to be turned on for power to get to the smoke generator. And now for the inside. The smoke generator leads into the smoking chamber.
Down here, the wood chips are fed by the auger and fall into this little bowl.
Shall I take it out?
This bowl here.
Is that the drip tray?
That's the drip tray. We'll talk about that in a second.
So the chips fall in here, but we recommend adding some water to extinguish the embers.
We'll talk about using the smoker safely in just a moment. And now, here we have the drip tray. It has a design that greatly improves temperature distribution compared to the old models. There are all these channels. On top of that, it's designed in such a way that all the juices and fat, which are a potential hazard. Remember, natural wood chips can create small sparks during combustion, unlike artificial smoke systems. That's part of the authentic process, but also why safety features like drip trays are essential. So, we have sparks that behave in a not entirely predictable way. That's also part of the beauty of it all. That's why we separate the fat as much as possible into separate containers. And there's this handle here that you can mount. Through the drain, there's an opening where all the juices and fat collect. With a large amount, you need to empty it in such a way that the juices don't spill out. In general, with a large load and high temperatures, we always suggest putting an extra tray underneath so that any excess fat first goes into the tray.
We don't have the crossbars here at the moment, but each Borniak smoker comes with 3 crossbars, a drip tray and a set of hooks. Everything you see here is part of the standard equipment. What's not standard is the dryer unit, which you have to buy separately. This is the latest dryer model, made of stainless steel, new technology. Can you tell us more about it?
It's already fitted, as I said, standardly made of stainless steel. Well, that offers much better cleaning possibilities. Stainless steel is very popular in the catering industry, and we also believe it's the best material we can use when it comes to maintaining hygiene. But also usability, aesthetic values, that's subjective, but I really like stainless steel. It has a nice look, and if you take proper care of it, you have a very durable device for years to come.
So the dry unit is used to dry the meats and sausages at the beginning so that the smoke is absorbed as well as possible, penetrates it, and usually...
But what's important is if we have wet meats or fish, the final product can take on a bitter taste, which is not desirable. So we dry them really well. We'll talk a bit more about drying later when we present the app and its programs. But we dry to get good smoke penetration and also to avoid that bitter aftertaste.
Yep. It also significantly speeds up the preparation of the meats for the entire smoking process, unlike those who hang their meats on sticks in a drafty, cool place and wait for hours until they dry. So it's good to add this new dryer to your smoker order.
It speeds it up, but it also reduces the number of steps because we only hang or arrange our meats on the various racks once. First, we dry them. There's no need to move them to another room. Rearrange them, and that takes a lot of time and you need the right space. We just set the temperature here. And it all depends on the recipes, because there are so many ways to dry things. On one hand, you have the temperature at which protein denatures, which is around 42 to 43 degrees, but with the right airflow, the temperatures can be a bit higher. But like I said, it all depends on the recipe, because there are thousands of recipes for sausages, same for hams. But we'll get to that later.
Okay, so maybe let's just show that to dry the meats. We remove the smoke generator and put in the specially fitted fan unit.
And where do we plug this fan in? We also plug the fan into the control box, into the appropriate socket, which is also controlled. There, the dryer has just turned on.
And now we can show on the app that we can control this drying process.
We can hear the fan running. We can turn it off here like this. We save the selection. The information is sent. It's still updating here, but you can already hear that the fan has stopped.
Ah, right, from the app. You know what? Let's show that again. So we'll turn the dryer on and off. We click on the dryer. We set it for, let's say, 3 hours of drying. We click start. The green light means it's running, and we can see that on the app and hear it too. Okay, let's turn the dryer off now.
We click just here, right? We can also turn it off with this. Yes. Button. We click Save.
Recently, methods have also started to appear for determining when meats are dry. For cured meats, you either check it manually, but sometimes you can use the internal temperature probe, and at certain temperatures, some define it as 32 degrees, when the inside reaches that, the meat usually has a dry skin and is ready to start the smoking process. But I always recommend a manual sort of feel test to check if the meat is actually dry.
Okay, so we've dried the meat, we take out the dryer unit, and in its place we put the smoke generator. Now, about using these probes. We have 2 in the set. For example, we can measure 2 different pieces of meat at the same time to see their internal temperatures. Let's say we're making a ham. The ham needs to be at 72 degrees, and next to it we could be smoking some cheese, or maybe some Italian smoked cheese, and we can put one probe in the cheese and the other in the ham and independently monitor the internal temperature of both products. That said, we should point out that in manual mode, the first probe to reach its set temperature will shut down the whole process. You have to be quite careful here because 2 probes are brilliant for programming. In manual control, we use 1 probe. You can connect 2, but be aware that if you set them up, the unit will turn off as soon as the first one hits its target temperature. So if you have one set to 67 degrees and another in a different spot needs to get to 70 or 72, it will shut off at 70. This means the second temperature won't be reached, which could pose a risk, like a bacteriological one or something. So, stick to using 1 probe to be certain you've reached the right temperature in that specific spot. And always check other pieces of meat, because if you have a lot of meat on different levels with varying airflow, you should always check that every piece has reached the right temperature.
Right, so what's next? Shall we move on to the programming?
Yes, we can move on to programming. So, we'll just stop this, turn it off. And let's move on to the first programming mode. In programming mode, we can set a pretty large number of steps according to our needs. We can create our own custom program. We add a step. Let's say we want to do it properly, prepare it for someone who needs to be well guided, so we have something like action required. Install. I'll just save this whole thing, it'll appear in the program. Install, and that's it. And in a moment we'll show how it works. Let's add another step. Temperature, 34 degrees, drying for 2 hours. We confirm. So we'll have a basic program for drying meats. We're not moving on to the smoking mode yet. We'll talk about that in a moment. And here we press start. A notification popped up on our end.
Install dryer.
Yes. On the other hand, on the smoker's screen, we have the message action required. And now we simply have to do it. This is very important because if we set it to dry with the generator installed, it won't work at all. We won't remove the moisture from inside, so we remove it, put in the fan, we press to confirm that it's installed, and then we see on the program that it has moved to the next step. Maybe let's show here that our button press completed the required action. We've moved on to the drying process, right? We can hear the fan running. We see that 2 hours have appeared, which is our set time. The LEDs are flashing, indicating that it's processing.
Right, and what can we do now? What's the next step to program?
We stop it. The thing with the program is that once it's programmed, you start it and it runs through completely. We don't edit it on the fly. This means we'd have to connect the dryer again and everything would start from the beginning. But let's assume that the next element is another action required. Because, as I recall, we had the dryer installed earlier. Now that we want to smoke, we need to install the smoke generator. We're now on the second step, installing the smoke generator. We've named the step. Okay, what's next? And we just confirm the step. And we install it, it already says here that the third step will be installing the smoke generator. For example, let's set the smoker at a temperature of 90 degrees. The first sensor reaches an internal temperature of, let's say it's a sausage, 68 degrees, and we'll be using smoke. The time is undefined because we'll be smoking for as long as it takes to reach the target temperature, and we confirm the step.
So first, we plan in our heads what stages we want. For example, for ham or sausage, that we need to do step 1, which is to enter the drying stage, right? We enter this first step, drying, and for how long it should last. The second step will probably be setting the temperature, and the third step is to plan the use of the smoke generator, how long it should run. And the app will show us which devices we need to connect to the smoker's controller, whether it's the smoke generator or the dryer. The smoker will tell us everything, and on the smoker's display, information will also appear here that something needs to be connected. But generally, we use the app, which is like the entire command center for the smoker. And the most important thing is that after setting up a program like this, we can, so to speak, relax and plan other activities, watch Netflix or something else that, have a beer with friends while the smoker does the work for us.
And now, before we get the hang of all this and how it works, we don't have to create the programs ourselves. We have a tab called Recipes. We have various recipe categories. And from this level, we can choose, for example, hams. Black Forest ham, that's a type of ham from Germany. The recipe says here what we need. We need beechwood chips, an attachment for cold smoking, a connector for the cold smoking attachment. These are additional elements that allow us to cold smoke in Borniak Smoker. And also, the exact ingredients for our recipe are listed, so the meat and ingredients for preparing the brine. Then we have the individual steps, indicated by bullet points.
We need to cure the meats first, don't we?
Curing first, then drying, then smoking. And here is a bit of additional information to help us. But let's move on to the program element, because there is the whole recipe and steps implemented in the app, and now we can load this program. Here's the information that we need: the dryer, and the steps are laid out in order. The first step is installing our dryer. The second step is drying at 30 degrees for 6 hours. Here we have the next step. It's set to 0 degrees here. We check if the meat is dry. We always confirm this,
We check by touching the meat with a finger. If the meat doesn't stick to your finger, it means it's well dried and ready for the smoking process.
And then we have the first step, which is 21 degrees for 6 hours. The temperature is on and the smoke is on. Later, we have a 12-hour break. Then we have another 6 hours of smoking, another 12-hour break, and 6 hours of smoking. This happens to be a recipe that's defined by us. We are the authors of this. It's a specific amount of smoke, a specific flavor, something that we as a company recommend. It really meets good standards and tastes great.
And can everyone upload their own program and recipe too?
Yes, we can upload it. It's just that, as before, we can create the exact same program in the previous window, in the previous functionality of the manual program.
Okay.
And now that we have this program, we press start. Yep, the smoker is beeping here, saying that an action is required, so at this moment, you need to put in the dryer.
We happen to have it installed already.
Yes, we have it installed.
We are now confirming that it is installed, so we move on to the next step, as you can see on the program, right? And the drying begins. It will last for 6 hours, so at this point, we'll stop the program soon to show other functionalities. We should also talk about the recipe categories. We have grouped them into different categories, so vegetarians can also find something for themselves. There are starters too. You can get a bit of inspiration if you're preparing for a party, and also various interesting tidbits. We have articles, for example, why it's worth drying and how to dry meat. You'll also often find various tips related to the recipe. With the Borcook app, it's really easy to learn how to prepare various dishes, and you only need to follow the pre-programmed steps. As you can see, the new Borniak smoker, once paired with the Borcook app, gives you incredible convenience and control over the entire smoking process. With the Borniak smoker, you can prepare everything from hams and sausages to fish, cheese, and even barbecue dishes right at home with professional results. If you have any questions about the Borniak smoker, be sure to leave a comment below this video, and we'll definitely get back to you.